Next on Worcester News tonight, an elderly couple says they're lucky to be alive after their son rescues them from their burning home. Plus, a rally in Worcester calling for senators to reject Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. One woman is dead after an ATV accident on Barre Road Sunday night. In an odd twist, the victim's brother is now facing charges for a separate incident. Tonight, we're hearing from police on what they're calling a tragic loss of life. Our Cam Jandro joins us now live with the details. Cam?
Hannah, this is a very strange case. Just moments after the accident, the victim's brother was arrested for vandalism because of how upset he was with his sister's death.
A memorial is set up along Williamsville Road in Barre, remembering a woman killed in a tragic accident Sunday night.
A female party by the name of Heather Barnacle was unfortunately killed in an ATV accident. She was pronounced dead on scene. She did get ejected from the ATV.
Police say Barnacle drove into a mailbox, the collision sending her into this large rock. Shortly after Barnacle died, firefighters were called for a burning truck at her home.
Christopher Barnacle, who is Heather's brother, admitted to vandalizing and burning the truck that belonged to Heather's boyfriend.
Barnacle's brother was arrested for vandalizing the truck. Police say prior to setting it on fire, he used a baseball bat to destroy the truck. Barnacle also allegedly told police his sister's boyfriend was a lowlife.
Her brother appeared to be distraught and upset, and took out his anger on the boyfriend's vehicle.
People in the area stopped at the site of the accident Monday to bring flowers and remember the victim.
Our hearts and prayers go out to the family members of the deceased, and at this point, any additional charges or any additional details are still under investigation.
Now again, Barre police say any additional charges as well as the investigation are still under investigation. As for the victim's brother, he pleaded not guilty today and was released on bail. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. Protesters gather in front of Worcester City Hall tonight to join a nationwide movement asking the Senate to reject Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. The FBI is reviewing Kavanaugh for sexual assault and misconduct allegations before a full Senate vote. Dozens held signs and chanted outside City Hall opposing Kavanaugh's nomination. Claire Baylor, member of Socialist Alternative, who organized the rally, commends Christine Blasey Ford for coming out and sharing her story.
In solidarity with Christina Ford and the other survivors, both of Kavanaugh, but also of the many other people who have been assaulted in and around Washington and just across the country.
Rallies also took place in Boston. Hundreds packed City Hall Plaza looking to send a message to Arizona Senator Jeff Flake. Meantime, while in Boston, Senator Jeff Flake talked politics, partisanship, and party, and that push for an investigation into the president's pick for the Supreme Court. Caroline Connolly reports.
We don't do bipartisan things in the Senate very often anymore, but I felt it was important to do this.
It was a move Republican Senator Jeff Flake said today was difficult to make, breaking from his party last week to bring about an FBI investigation this week into allegations of sexual assault against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
I felt that we weren't doing due diligence with a lifetime appointment for the Supreme Court. If there are questions that haven't been answered, and if the FBI could have investigated, I felt that it needed to.
His decision came just a day after lengthy and emotional testimony from Kavanaugh and his accuser, Dr. Christine Blasey Ford, who says Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her at a party when they were both in high school. While Flake says he found Dr. Ford's story to be credible, he also said it would still not stop him from voting to confirm Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court following the FBI's review.
You said you believe Dr. Ford, you found her to be credible, so how could you still vote for the judge going forward?
No, like I said, it was he offered very compelling testimony as well, and we've always operated on the presumption of innocence. That's the bedrock of our democracy here. And so you have to consider all sides.
But both sides in Washington remain deeply divided.
And to have the rope.
Flake was even confronted by a sexual assault survivor in an elevator to demand he vote against the judge. While he won't commit to that, Flake argued today his call for the FBI's investigation shows he is committed to the public.
It was important to hit the brakes here and to make sure that we can give, one, our colleagues more confidence that we've done all the investigating. Two, the country needed to see this as well, that we had taken this very seriously.
Now, this FBI investigation was initially going to be limited in scope, only involving a few witnesses, but now we're told, according to the White House, it has been expanded and will involve anyone with relevant information. In Boston, I'm Caroline Conley, Worcester News Tonight.
The town of Paxton officially has a new head of police. Monday night, former Lieutenant Mark Savassa was sworn in as chief. The 22-year veteran of the police department replaces Chief Robert Desrozier, who retired the end of September. Upgrades are coming soon to Worcester's Union Station, including a new Center Island platform. An MBTA board approving a $4 million contract Monday. Some commuter rail riders say the changes are needed. Our Brittany Schaefer has the story.
A $4 million upgrade is approved for Union Station.
The central platform will allow a lot more convenience for riders.
The MBTA's Fiscal and Management Control Board voted in favor of the project Monday. It will include a center platform and track and signal upgrades, which will allow 2 trains to enter the station at once.
It opens up options. I think first and foremost, the focus is how can it improve or maybe add additional trains between Worcester and Boston, and that I think continues to be a priority.
The current setup, where only 1 train can enter the station at a time, has long led to issues with delays.
Hour, 45-minute wait most of the time. I would be all for it.
Worcester resident Timothy Shea takes the commuter rail often and says it could use some improvements.
There have been some big time gaps between trains and everything. Well, I had to wait in South Station a good while before being able to come back, so more trains would be, great.
Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce President Tim Murray says these upgrades could result in big changes for public transportation in the city.
In addition to the trains between Worcester and Boston, it could conceivably allow another train then to head south towards Providence or other locations, having more express and nonstop service in there as well. So just continued improvement, and that's what we're really trying to push.
The project's next step is completing the plan, then construction will follow. Murray says it all should be completed within the next 4 years. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Public health officials announcing 4 new human cases of the West Nile virus in Massachusetts. One is a woman in her 40s from Worcester County who was hospitalized. This brings the total number of reported cases to 29 this year. Last year, there were only 6 human cases detected in the state. The virus can cause illness ranging from a mild fever to more serious diseases like encephalitis or meningitis. Well, things could have been a lot worse for a Leicester couple had their son not been home. A fire broke out in their bedroom while the two were sleeping, and since they're both wheelchair bound, they would not have been able to escape on their own. Our Chandler Walsh has the story.
Even Fisher had to act fast when flames were spreading inside his elderly parents' bedroom.
I just wanted to keep my parents alive, that's all.
If he hadn't have been there, we'd have gone up with the house. We'd have burned to death. Thank God he was home.
The fire at the Fishers' Leicester home broke out early Saturday morning. The Leicester Fire Department says it was electrical, starting in the downstairs rear bedroom where the couple, both in their 90s and confined to wheelchairs, sleep.
Hospital bed, the wiring from that caught on fire.
Charlie noticed the fire and called for help. June banged on the floor to get their son's attention.
I had to pull my dad out of bed, put him in the wheelchair, brought him to the living room. Then I went back, pulled my mother out of bed, put her in her wheelchair.
The fire department says the damage was mostly contained to the corner bedroom and attic, but expect the home will be a total loss.
I thought the whole house was going to go down. I really did.
June says she and her husband wouldn't be alive if it weren't for their son.
I've never been through anything like that before in my life. And I'm going to be 92 in December. It scared the daylights out of me.
Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A Shrewsbury Street restaurant has been sold and will be going under some big changes in the coming weeks. According to the Worcester Business Journal, Nacho Dining Inc. is buying the assets of the British beer company for $500,000. The restaurant will be called Mexicali Grill. It's slated to be the 7th location of the franchise, and most of them are in Central Mass. The Worcester Regional Chamber of Commerce is on the move. Their office is moving down to the street to 311 Main Street. It's one of the buildings owned by Worcester Railers hockey owner Cliff Rucker. The chamber says their lease was up and they're happy to become one of Rucker's latest tenants. They plan on continuing to clean up brownfield sites, create jobs, expand the tax base, and brings new visitors into the city. Central Mass High School students getting a chance to see firsthand what it's like to drive drunk or distracted. A select few students were chosen from different schools to become safe driver ambassadors. Monday, they got a chance to try a distracted driving simulator and drunk goggles, as well as hear from trauma bay doctors at UMass Memorial Medical Center and EMTs. Once the students go back to their schools, they'll teach other students the lessons they've learned.
I just hope I can get the message across to people that it's not something you want to do. Yeah, it can be all fun and games until it comes down to reality and the consequences you can face. It's just not something you want to have to go through.
The number one cause of death for teenagers is driving, is car crashes. And it's all preventable. So doing this kind of work where we can give them the skills that they need to not make the mistakes that others have made could really save lives.
Today's event at UMass was funded by the Allstate Foundation Good Starts Young program.